Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonicweb Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonicweb Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonicweb Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonicweb Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Moshe Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Moshe Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Moshe Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mian Moshe Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonicweb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonicweb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonicweb Studios is the answer. Sonicweb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web design that blows the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonicweb Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, check out the latest novel by well-known award-winning author Mian Moshe Zia of No Time for Love called Missing, an extraordinary relationship between 2 ordinary people based on real-life events that go through 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and the ones you love will be the first to go missing. Check out the book on Amazon and other retailers, available on all formats today. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com and can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, Amazon, Audible, and coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Also heard worldwide on Geo7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with a wonderful lady who is an actress and director, and she's also a coach and filmmaker and does a lot of things. And she's appeared in Hillary and Hysterical, Historical, Hillary. And, of course, What Else Hillary is here. And also presents a very, very interesting lineage as well, too. Her mom is award-winning actress, and her cousin is a one-time great football player from the Midwest. And this movie talks about trafficking following abolitionists. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studio, somewhere in beautiful downtown Los Angeles. And this lady is teamed up by a wonderful editor. So right here on conference call, we've got Christina Zorich and editor Landon Satterfield. Guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you, Michael, for having us.
Yes, thank you very much.
And thank you as well, too. You guys are taking on a great project, and we'll talk about that. It's called The New Abolitionists. It's a documentary that's going to be coming out pretty soon. We'll talk about that. But first of all, Christina, we'll talk about your interesting career where your mom's award-winning actress and your cousin is a Chicago Bear great. I'll just leave it at that. And you also appeared in Hillary and Historical Hillary, and maybe other Hillarys we don't find out. And you're also a filmmaker, coach, and more. And Landon will talk about you in just a minute. But first of all, tell us how you got started.
Well, what started for me is, you mean about the movie? You're talking about the film.
We're going to talk about you first, and then we're going to talk about the film. So let's get to know you.
Okay.
And you've got a really interesting lineage, and let's talk about that first.
Well, my mom and my father had a theater company in Montclair, New Jersey. Both actors. My mom taught acting. Both of them directed. Both of them. My father actually wrote 2 books. So that's kind of, they're artists. They started the whole theater in Montclair, New Jersey. My mom had started 3 other theater companies. Her name is Olympia Dukakis. So I was in shows with them. I ended up doing a lot of regional theater in my 20s. I knew I wanted to be an actress very young. I was in a production of Our Town, and I remember I had this kind of aha moment on the stage where I knew this is what I wanted to do. So I spent 20 years doing like classical parts and regional theater across the United States. Then in my 30s, I kind of started doing independent films. I was living in New York at the time and started doing voiceover work in New York City. And then eventually that led to teaching jobs. I started coaching my friends for free. And one of my friends said, you should do this, and make a living out of this. So I spent probably about close to 13, 14 years teaching acting at places like Michael Howard Studios, New York Film Academy. I did a summer program at Rutgers. I taught at different, and then I ended up from there doing small directing and producing jobs around New York, and eventually moved to Los Angeles with a teaching job out here, and started I taught out here for a few years and sold property back in New York City. And with the money I made from the sale, I had all this money on my hand. And that's what started the kind of quest to figure out, having had small producing gigs, well, what can I do now what can I do with this cash use project that I would really, really believe in? Because most of the time, the little projects I had done had been stuff that came to me, somebody else's project that mattered to them, and I was just doing it, to make a living, to be a part of it. But this project, I thought, okay, this can be something I really, really care about. It took me about a year, and then eventually I landed on the subject of human sex trafficking, and kind of found out about it, rocked me, and then that led to making the movie. That's kind of like my little bio.
That is interesting. And what was that one moment that influenced you into doing a documentary about human sex trafficking? This sounds very interesting, and it's also a worldwide problem, throughout the globe, not just the United States, but worldwide throughout.
Yes. I met a woman at a party in the Hollywood Hills in about 2012. Her name is Erica Grieve. She had started a non-government organization, an NGO. She was also a Christian minister, and it's called Unlikely Heroes. She was building homes, rescuing women and children who had been human sex trafficked, and she needed fundraising done to raise money for these homes to, staff them and build them. And she basically woke me up to the reality that human sex trafficking was happening. She told me some horrific stories that were, jarring and upsetting. And I kind of felt radically moved, like I had to be a part of helping her in some way. So then I reached out to people who were cameramen, directors, initially thinking that I could not, be of service to her. She needed a real person to kind of, help wrangle materials, film her so that she could create marketing materials to raise money to build these homes. Everybody I sent her met with her and said that they needed money to do this. And she had said to me, Christina, the money that we have to go all into the girls, to the victims in essence. And I said, of course I understand. And we left it at that. But I walked away at that moment thinking, wow, this would be an incredible idea for a documentary, because I was so engaged and engrossed in trying to figure out, what is this problem? How can this possibly be happening? I felt bereft of understanding myself. So I wanted to be, I thought, if I feel like that, how many other Americans feel that way? In 2012, I knew people who had known about it, but not the way it's kind of more, people have more awareness now. So then time passed, and I sold this property a few years later, and that's when I actually had kind of the breath and air around me to go, okay, what am I passionate about? What do I want to kind of labor over? And that's when I decided to start working on this film.
Mm-hmm. And then another thought that came to my mind, you were talking about the whole sex trade throughout Cambodia and Thailand. When you went to do this documentary, did you get any threats from the government or any oppression that you experienced while you're trying to do a documentary or gather information?
No, but what happened is my focus in the film is on the people who do the anti-trafficking work. So it was kind of began to be laid out to me because, certain people presented themselves, and then they knew this person, and then they knew this person. And I went on 2 mission trips and started documenting what the problem was and how they were attacking it. And most these 4 groups had that we ended up following. Basically, they're radical, these people. They basically sold all their belongings and moved to do this really incredible work that they're doing. And to me, they're heroes of my faith. And so I was kind of awestruck over them. The problems have not really presented themselves, but in the sense that we had now in the editing process, subsequent from shooting, just having to be very smart and careful about protecting them. So we had to pixelate a lot of people, hide locations, change people's names to just protect the people who had been through these experiences. So that's what we've really tried to do is kind of straddle that very thin line of protecting everybody, but yet showing the issue enough so that you can raise awareness, educate people, and hopefully create enough cultural concern about this that we can change this culture that's happening all around us.
Mm-hmm. And what percentage would you say that human sex trafficking occurs in Cambodia and Thailand, and where does it rank in the world?
Well, that was this is the really crux of the matter. It's a criminal industry, so hard fast numbers are kind of criminal industry is hidden by nature of being criminal. So you're using guesstimations that are coming from really educated people who are boots down in the field, but still in essence it is. Reason that I really felt Southeast Asia seemed like, and why all these groups have gone there, is because it is considered by most people who are kind of experts in this field of anti-trafficking work the most trafficked region in the globe, Asia, the continent of Asia. So we got these openings and these connections to go with certain groups, but it obviously is happening in India. We know, we've heard stories. There's other areas of Asia where it's happening. And then there's other areas, like I think somebody told me that South America is number 2 and Europe and America is 3rd in the ranking. But again, these are people who have dedicated their lives to it, but still we can't get, by the very nature of it, hard, fast numbers.
Mm-hmm. And then what would you say the root cause of the problem is with the human and sex trafficking, and what can be done about it?
That is exactly the substance of the film.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
I was offering, like, from your perspective, like what you can personally do, where some solutions, and also the fact that with human and sex trafficking and everything like that, how much is the government doing something about it?
Well, I mean, I want people to see the movie, so I can't totally answer that question, but I can tell you this: we're all not doing enough. That's for sure. There's a quote that rocked me. Christian Elliott at E21. We interviewed a lot of different, and had to spend the year from 2015 to 2016. I went in 2015, came back, realized I didn't have enough footage to make a movie. So I went back and planned for that year and went back in 2016. But we curried the favor and tried to kind of court different NGOs that we could also follow. Some of them allowed us to follow them. Others did not, for various reasons. But one of the groups we approached was A21, and he said to me, I said, how much percent of prosecutions are you getting in Thailand? He said probably 1%.
Ooh, 1%? Oh my goodness.
So I cannot, this is, again, I don't want to misrepresent anything that I don't have hard, fast numbers about other areas of the globe. I think you would have to be, I don't know who you would have to be to have those numbers. I don't think there's anyone who really does. But the point is we're woefully failing at attacking this problem.
Mm-hmm. And what can we find the new Abolitionists at?
Excuse me?
Okay, where can we find the film at? When it's going to be coming out, where can we find it at?
Yeah, right now we're doing the festival, the film festival circuit. It's COVID, so in a way we're blessed because strangely we can actually afford online to be in a lot more festivals that I probably would have been able to afford if we didn't have COVID. So right now I think, what do we have coming up this next?
There's the Big Apple,
right?
Big Apple Film Festival.
We just finished Abuja, which is in...
Yeah, Abuja, which is in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
So basically what's going on, like, for instance, 2 weeks ago, we were in, like, I think 3 or 4 festivals at once, which is only possible because of COVID. Normally you would have to show up, like Red Rock, we were in Utah, and then Louisville and Kentucky. So Studio City, and we're right now. So what we're doing is just doing the film festival circuit. The movie's won like 6 awards and 5 nominations so far, and we're up for a bunch of other nominations for different film festivals. For usually it's best doc feature, and hopefully we're hoping. We have a sales agent. We're hoping we get sold and get distribution. That would be the next step that we're looking.
Facebook will be the most immediate announcements as far as festivals and that kind of thing. So Facebook.com/The New Abolitionists, or searching for The New Abolitionists documentary on Facebook, and you'll be able to find it.
Okay. All right. We will do so as well, too. And Landon will talk about what you do in just a minute, along with some other plans. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. Powered by Sonicweb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonicweb Studios is the answer. Sonicweb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonicweb Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, TuneIn, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And check out the latest novel by well-known award-winning author Mia Motion Zia of No Time for Love called Missing, an extraordinary relationship between two ordinary people based on real-life events that go through 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and the ones you love will be the first to go missing. Check out the book on Amazon and other retailers, available on all formats today. We're here with actress and director Christina Zorich and editor Landon Satterfield of The New Abolitionists, a documentary that's being produced and circulated throughout the film fest here on the Mike Wagner Show. We talked about the new abolitionists and also the subject of the human and sex trade throughout Cambodia and Thailand. And Landon, let's talk about your involvement in the film. But first, tell us how you got started.
Well, I was born from a very early age. And
you were born from a very early age?
I was born at a very early age. As far as filmmaking goes, whenever I was a kid, I was very interested in how things were done. And so I spent a lot of time looking at and investigating that. It was always a goal of mine to become a filmmaker. I started editing in college and then moved on to kind of volunteer within my church and eventually moved on to be the video director at my church. Worked there for about 8 years and then moved to LA to kind of expand my career within editing and then also acting as well. Always been an artist, an actor, always wanting to pursue different creative outlets. And I was able to meet Christina through a mutual friend. And then I actually got this job editing before I moved I grew up in Arkansas and Oklahoma, like right on the border. And I got the job with Christina before I moved out. And so we've been working on this film now for just a little over 3 years, off and on for 3 years. And so it's been a really incredible journey. It's been a great kind of anchor for me. Coming to LA for the first time, and Christina's definitely been an anchor as a friend and a mentor. So it's been kind of quite the journey, shaping. What was it, Christina? Like, when did I come on? How many hours of footage?
The movie started when I got back the second time, maybe even more from the first time. But from the second trip, I had 600 hours of footage to edit down, and now we're at 99 minutes.
Yeah.
So post was like insane.
Like 12 to 14 hours when I.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, somebody really smartly said to me before Landon arrived. I had this filmmaker. He said, "Do not have that much footage in front of one editor." He said, "You need an assistant editor who will cull through everything with you, get it down to a more manageable amount to shape it." And, do a rough and fine cut of it with more of your kind of journeyman editor. And God, I listened to him because, it's a lot. But when he came on, how many hours was it when you came on?
It had to have been like 12 or 14. It was
quite
a long time.
Yeah. I kept saying to Landon, I was like, okay, we're going to be done with it. And then I would give an arbitrary deadline.
There would be like, you think we could have this much done by next month? And I would just kind of look over at her and not say anything because I knew it was going to take a lot longer.
But eventually, what I've learned is that, as much as we try to control these experiences, we're just making projections. Mm-hmm. And the experience will be done when the experience is supposed to be done. Mm-hmm. Even this last year, we've done small focus groups and re-edited and reshaped it and, restructured it, streamlined the movie a few times now over the last year. So it wasn't completed till August, 28th or something around there.
Yeah, like September 9th.
Yeah, close around there. So, it's just an ongoing process. I mean, I once had an editor tell me documentaries are never completed. They're just abandoned. Because people just get so tired. Well, because, it's not written on a page. I mean, I had a outline about the structure, but because you have an idea of what a subject matter is, when you get on the field and you're shooting, it always changes, and you deepen your understanding of what's happening. You change, come with ideas about what the problem is or the issue is or the subject matter, and then that gets altered. So it's a living, breathing thing. It kind of tells you what story you have to tell eventually, if that makes sense.
And this is also the longest project I'd ever worked on. I had edited a lot of projects over the years, sometimes multiple in a week. And, as far as footage and time length, this has definitely been the biggest kind of journey that I've gone on.
But also, to our credit, and I will say this, I've talked to other people who have made documentaries. Ours, basically, soup to nuts, was 5 years. So that's not that long. Some people do, people are working on documentaries 10 years, 8 years. So, I feel good about that.
Yeah.
I don't look for the pony, right? Always looking for the pony in the situation.
Yeah.
I never heard that phrase before, looking for the pony or something. I'll have to put it into my...
my mom, that's one of my mom's favorite. She goes, where's the pony? Where's the pony in the situation? I don't know what the right phrasing of it is. There always has to be a pony. Like, there always has to be a positive, something redemptive in a situation.
In Oklahoma, we would have just said it's in the barn.
Oh yeah, it's all making sense, and I think that was just something you guys work on. You guys do a great job. And Landon, what are some of the other projects you worked on? And also, I forgot to ask you guys, who are some of your favorite directors growing up? So, Landon, let's start with you, since we're in the directing frame of mind here.
So as far as features have gone, I've edited one other documentary called Abolitionists, the American, and that was a doc that I worked on alongside at the same time of working on the new Abolitionists with Christina, and that got completed in 2018. And there's a short film and a lot of just either smaller things on YouTube or for corporations. As far as filmmakers go, I was very inspired by Alfonso Cuarón in The Prisoner of Azkaban. I think that's probably like the biggest kind of, as far as tastes go, inspiration. And so I've always kind of followed along with his career. And man, I'm kind of drawing a blank on anybody else. That's probably because I've just watched all the Harry Potter movies again. But as far as inspiring for me, that was kind of the first film that I saw that really made me kind of feel something directorially. When I was a kid growing up, I was very much into Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I was a big Power Rangers fan. So there's definitely like a lot of things that kind of had this niche for me that kind of ended up getting me engaged with film or TV that made me want to go, that's something I want to do whenever I grow up.
That is quite interesting. And then Christina, since we're talking about directors, who are some of your favorite directors growing up, and then also talk about your favorite actors and guys, also your favorite movies too, and especially Christina, your favorite movies, since we're on that subject.
Well, I'm looking right now because I know I'm going to mess up their names. What was the movie? Guillermo del Toro, The Shape of Water.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, I think he's a genius.
Yeah.
The Coen brothers, I've always been a huge fan of. Ava, the woman who directed 13, what's her name?
Oh, goodness.
Ava, I can't remember her last name. She's incredible. What was the movie that came out of, I think, South America, the director, about the maid? What's his name? I'm looking. I can't remember. I can't remember anybody's name.
It's okay to Google. We're not watching.
Anyway, there's a bunch of, I think a lot of the South American directors right now are kind of really exciting. anyway, so those are the films that came to mind when you first. Yeah, Ava DuVernay. Am I saying her name correctly? Close. There's a lot that I mean, it's exploding right now, especially for women. There's so much more opportunities for women as filmmakers. In terms of growing up, my parents, were actors, obviously, and they were, back when they were younger, film and theater was kind of God. It's not now kind of shifted to television where people there's so much incredible content on TV. But back then, they kind of were constantly obsessed with foreign films, and I was exposed to a lot of foreign great filmmakers, classics like Fellini, Bergman, Kurosawa, all these terrific, incredible, my father used to say to me, if you want to learn about great acting, you have to watch the classics. And so I was kind of a little, when I was younger, watching stuff that was probably too advanced in some ways. I should have not watching, but I loved La Strada. I loved all the Italians. But there were other filmmakers from other places in the in the world but those were really predominantly, it was Fellini, Bergman, De Sica, The Bicycle Thief. I mean, certain great classics that made me fall in love with the power of filmmaking, how it can really change your perspective. It's a window into a world, a reality that you would not see or would have no knowledge of, and it can really radically change your understanding of what it is to be a human being. And so, I mean, even March of the Penguins, I was thinking, why was that such a powerful film for me? Or Day of the Dolphin, because I also was a 70s kid, so I loved all of those kind of spy thrillers and movies about conservation. That was kind of my milieu of the 70s movies. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Sting, those were the movies that I kind of grew up watching and really revering the filmmaking of those genres. But yeah, that's it. I'm still like a obsessive film watcher. I still sit I can kind of escape into these worlds and always feel like I'm learning something or growing, or I don't know. But no, that's the life of any artist. You hunger for that.
Mm-hmm. It also make me think of The Matrix, just going through portals and everything else. So that's another different time, though. And what's coming up, we'll find out in just a minute. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonicweb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonicweb Studios is the answer. Sonicweb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonicweb Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, check out the latest novel by well-known award-winning author Min Mo Shinzia of No Time for Love, called Missing, an extraordinary relationship between two ordinary people based on real-life events that go through 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and the ones you love will be the first to go missing. Check out the book on Amazon and other retailers, available on all formats today. Also, The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. It can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, Amazon, Audible, and more. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, TuneIn, and heard worldwide on Geo7, Radio Public, and Himalaya, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with actress and director Christina Zorich, along with editor Landon Satterfield of the new Abolitionist documentary, here on The Mike Wagner Show, and also talking about some of their influences and many, many more. And what do you have coming up in 2021 and beyond for us, guys?
Well, for me, I really want to sell the movie. So we have, I don't know how many more festivals.
20
coming up. So, it's been a kind of a blessing that we're able to do so much of this film festival circuit, that we've gotten into a lot of festivals. So we kind of have to go through those experiences. That's what's really kind of on the docket coming up, and hopefully make a sale for the film. I think it's an important subject matter. I think we all need to can use more education and understanding. It's a hard thing to look at. It's a hard thing to confront. But one lesson I learned from making the movie is the problems don't go away magically. You have to confront them. You have to assess them and move through and work through them. So that's really what I have on the docket, because it's a very consuming process. But I also am auditioning on the side. I think they're starting to slowly open up, and people are starting to shoot now, with a intense kind of protection with COVID. So it's the industry is slowly opening back up. So hopefully, God willing, I'll also be able to do some acting coming up.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. What about you, Landon?
Oh, me. I think, continuing to, for myself, I've been working on my own website and creating a new reel, trying to at least put myself back out there, because this season with the new Abolitionists is starting to slowly come to a close. We're still doing festivals. We're communicating with a lot of different people and, trying to get the movie sold. Christina's the one that's putting that down the field. But it's kind of the same for me. I'm sort of looking out, seeing, okay, I've had this season for 3 years with this film. What's next? Hopefully also, starting to make some movement on the acting side of things. Of course, that requires me to take some steps that I'm kind of fresh on. But it's, I don't know. I think this season with COVID-19 has definitely been a difficult one, but for a lot of people, you face difficulties.
We're going to get through it.
We're going to get through it.
We're going to get through it.
Yes, definitely.
It's rocked every industry. It's hard to you just kind of, I've seen it with most of my friends. Everybody finds like that one thing that they can hold on to at this time that kind of gives them a baseline. It's like an anchor through the circumstance. Cause
that's been this movie for me.
Yeah, it's been this movie for me too.
We were the first month or so. We weren't doing any edits, and it was kind of a rough time where it's like, okay, I don't have work going on. And then Christina wanted to begin again, and it was a very good thing. I needed something to be able to kind of anchor myself. But, you start to ask, what's important to me? Do I have to have this grand idea of and be so specific about what I want, or what's, you have friends, you have family, you have a roof over your head. And for, a lot of people, that can be a difficult thing right now. But thankfully, I'm in a spot where I can feel confident moving forward and go, I think I can take any challenge that's thrown at me. So anyway.
And then what can people do to help the cause, like with fight human sex trafficking, and also to help with the film?
Well, we have a website, www.thenewabolitionist, plural, DOC as in doc.com. And if they go there, there's a What Can I Do page, and the three non-government organizations that we highlight and follow in the movie, they can click on and they can read up and educate themselves. I mean, the whole website was created for that purpose. At that specific page, they can kind of do research and figure out which group they can get involved with. There's many, there's a lot of ways to self-educate, but this is just one resource.
Yeah, people can go to each of the organization's websites, donate. You can see about doing either a short-term trip, or if people feel called to donate more time. I think that's one of the things they need. They need more boots on the ground. They need more funding. So this movie is with the intent of inspiring people to be able to do something practical and real that can create a lasting change. And I think that's the one thing that we really want to emphasize, is that it's possible to do something that will create a change. And that's just one avenue. So we have that page on the website to kind of aggregate that and give people a simple avenue to make that change happen.
And that's so important as well, too. And who do you consider biggest influences in your career?
Wow, that's a big question, isn't it? Wow, that's a huge question. Well, I mean, I don't ever say this, but I'm going to say it. My parents, I'm giving them the props they deserve. I mean, I think my parents, both of them, my father, who's passed away a few years ago, and my mom, are artists through and through. They've got huge hearts, and they cared about, social issues. They cared about injustices. They cared about creating more considerate, loving citizens. My mother was a huge, being Greek, she was always prodding me to be of service as a citizen, which used to drive me crazy. But I have to give her props because, the power of a parent. They can say one thing and you can shake it off and you can fight them for years, but it comes back and you go, daggone, they were right. Like my father used to say to me, I remember as a young person saying, I want everything I do to be something that brings me joy. And my father turned to me, I was in my, probably an early teenager. He said, well, that's not going to happen. He said, life is filled with doing things you hate doing. And I could sob on the floor thanking him for saying that, because the things that I ended up hating doing ended up becoming the greatest lessons and the greatest teachers that came to me. I ended up developing the most through doing those things. They're usually the responsible things. They're usually the things are the right things, but they're the hard, really satisfying lessons. So I would say the two of them by virtue of who they are, but also by virtue by their artist souls and what they taught me about what it is really to be an artist, to contribute and to do the hard work of that, because it's hard. Being an artist is hard. You have to challenge yourself. You have to look at your inadequacies. You have to take on the business of your own growth, or you literally don't have a chance of being any kind of a success with it. So they taught me those lessons. Yeah, they're the greatest influence. Gosh, I really never thought I would totally give them that kind of props, but I did.
Well worth the time. And Landon, can you top that?
Well, I think the whole earth has been a great inspiration. I'm just kidding. I was just trying to one up. I would say every person is an inspiration.
No.
Yeah, I would say my parents have been a huge inspiration for me. I can be highly critical and annoying at times, and they've stuck. That's way too critical on myself, but they've stuck by me as far as support and giving me encouragement, always being very encouraging against my self-doubt and against my criticisms. And then there were a few key people early on, like I said, when I started in college editing. I'll give him a shout out, Roger Euler. He was a great friend of mine growing up, and I mean, that's just a personal friend of mine, but he was one of the people that said, you're really good at this and you're going to be really good at this. And I hadn't really, it was something I wanted to do, but I didn't feel like or know that I had a knack or an eye either for filmmaking or for editing. He was one of the first people that pointed that out, along with a mentor of mine, Craig Johnson. And then as far as overall, inspirations of, people who have kind of either fought a hard fight or have been creative. I kind of just try to pay attention. I personally try to pay attention to those people that seem to have a groove or some kind of rhythm or some kind of flow. I can get in my head a lot. And so I try to do as much research and listen to as many people as possible when it comes to connecting with their hearts and their creativity, because
you're an editor.
Yeah,
I'm
an editor.
Brainy to be an editor.
Very, 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 very analytical. And then there's also something too when it comes to editing with your heart. Christina's been a good person to pull that out for me. So I think that's actually a great benefit of sort of this working partnership and turn into a friendship when it comes to work. It's easy for me to be focused on this tiny, like one frame of something, but not always whenever it comes to, how does your heart feel like it's pulling you, and creativity. So yeah, that's it for me.
And that's very good as well, too. Very, very inspirational. And what's the best advice you guys can give to anybody at this point?
Boy, inspiration. I would just, I really am a big believer that there are divine assignments we all have. And when that assignment comes to you, you know it. Perfect example with the movie. I wanted to do another project and I was planning it. My mom was going to direct it because I've worked a lot with my family, and we had a Broadway producer, and we were starting to cast it. We were looking at theaters, and then this project just took over. It was like a kismet feeling, and I just knew that I had to do it, and it scared the crap out of me. I was going to be completely out of my comfort zone. I had never directed a feature. I even thought that was madness. I'm like, me directing a feature doc? What am I doing? It wasn't, but I really did feel in my gut like this was a divine assignment, like this was something for me. And I think that it's taken me a long time. I think when I was younger, I trusted my head. I made some smart decisions, but not good decisions for me. And then I feel like as I got older, I trusted my heart. And then now, at my age, I just trust my gut. It might not even make sense. It's an intuitive feeling, but you just feel drawn to certain things and people and circumstances. And maybe you find out years later, oh, that was all a setup for this, But you might not, in the moment, know why you're spending 2 years on a mission, 2 different mission trips, or you might not know why you're interested in teaching children in Nicaragua, English as a second language, and then you find out later that you need, you know what I'm saying? So I guess trust that your internal process, those things that draw you. That's the best I got. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Landon, you can do that as well too. You can either one up, you can be equal, or best advice. So I love this whole one up game here. This is really good. So
let's see, what could I do to one up? I've really learned that I'm good at everything. Perfectionism is just one mere glance away. I would say being a professional perfectionist at a time, the world isn't going to end if you make a mistake. I think for me would be one of the most sort of inspiring or things that I could say to someone, at least whether it's an editor or a very brainy person, it's not being afraid to fail on something, not being afraid to make a mistake, say the wrong thing.
That's the process. This process of making the movie has been one failure after the next. It's just constant.
Yeah.
And then you try to fix that failure, and then next time you do this. You can't do anything without failing at it a bunch of times, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what.
Yeah, it's like not being so hard on oneself for a failure or a mistake, and then also not holding people to a standard to the point of idolatry. I think for anyone who is a young creative or a young artist or someone who is aspiring, when you're younger, you try to look up to people in a way that kind of sets them on a pedestal to fail for you. Don't let anybody else fail for you. Fail for yourself. I that's kind of the only thing really that's coming to mind. Yeah. Go for yourself.
And I think you guys said that so well. You said so well. Once again, Christina Zorich and Landon Satterfield of the New Abolitionists, the Mike Wagner Show. Guys, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having them again soon. Keep us up to date. Love you back both on 2021. And also don't forget to keep in touch. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people check out the film? And how can people help?
Well, we do have the newabolitionistdoc.com. That's the newabolitionistdoc.com. That's you can find links to all social media. You can find Instagram is the New Abolitionist, and
follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram.
Follow us on Facebook. The New Abolitionist. What's our handle on Facebook?
Yeah, it's facebook.com/the New Abolitionist. And Twitter is a little more complicated, but it's N
Abolitionist.
Yeah.
Not plural, right? Yeah.
So N Abolitionist.
Yeah. Follow us on social media. Check out our website, and we'll let you know what's going on, what's to come.
We will certainly do so. Once again, guys, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely great. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on 2021, and don't forget to keep in touch. You guys have been great.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonicweb Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonicweb Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonicweb Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonicweb Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonicweb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.